Hello everyone, it's your boy Jacob from DJBros, you already know who it is. Today, I just wanted to take a second to rank the Beatles albums. Now, I just want to make it clear, kind of random, the Beatles and albums. Anyone close to me, or even anyone that follows my Instagram, knows that the Beatles are not just a band to me. Over the last year or so, the Beatles have been like like a kind of therapy to me, like I've never listened to a band so much or anything so much, and I just wanted to take a second to rank the albums by them, because I think every album by them has something special to them. Anyway, I'll get right to it. So I actually don't have this fucking album. So in the last place, I got Yellow Submarine. Now, this isn't even a fucking competition. I'm pretty sure everyone knows that Yellow Submarine is honestly a pretty fucking shit album. It's the only album by the Beatles that's actually not very good. Half of it is a soundtrack. It's not actual fucking proper music, I mean, it's music, but it's, it's fucking like soundtrack music, like shit you'd hear in the background of a movie, right? Because that's what Yellow Submarine was. It was a movie, right? And there was a soundtrack for it, and that's what half the album was. There's only about, I think there's 4 new songs on it. Like, there was Yellow Submarine, All You Need Is Love. I really like those 2 songs, but everything else is just not it. Like, I like Hey Bulldog a lot. Hey Bulldog is one of the songs, I think the 3rd or 4th track. You can talk to me if you're lonely, you can talk to me. Everything else is just, and everything else that's new doesn't really work for me or for anybody else. I'm pretty sure most people agree with me when I say that Yellow Submarine is not very good. However, going on to the better albums, I got this one, number 13 on the spot, is Beatles for Sale. Now, Beatles for Sale, it's alright, like I always like me some Beatles. Beatles for Sale is another one of those that kind of easily falls into the second last place. There aren't any bad songs on here. Like, some of my favorites are I'm a Loser, I'll Follow the Sun, 8 Days a Week. I'm sure everyone loves that one. I Don't Want to Spoil the Party, which is probably one of my favorite songs by the Beatles at the moment. I do love her. I think it's pretty good. It was released in 1964, so I don't know. I think I'd give this album about 7.5 out of 10. Yellow Submarine, I'd give it maybe like a 5 or a 6, because it's not complete shit, but yeah, this one, it's alright. Definitely falls in second last for me, but again, I really enjoy the good songs on here, but the ones that I didn't list are just okay to me. Maybe not okay, but still good, but not something I would turn on all the time. Next one is Help. This one may be a little shocking in some people's eyes. I don't know. I really enjoy a few of the songs on here, like Help, The Night Before. Ticket to Ride is pretty good. I think that's a little overrated for a Beatles, like, a hit. Act Naturally, It's Only Love, and Yesterday. Act Naturally and Yesterday are 2 of my favorite songs by the Beatles. I adore those 2 songs. I'm sure most people really like Yesterday as well. 'Cause I can play the part so well. But again, similar to Beatles for Sale, I just think that everything that I didn't just mention, like, You've Got to Hide Your Love Away is pretty good. I Need You is just kind of whatever. Another Girl, You Like Me Too Much. Like, some of these songs are just kind of like there. I enjoy listening to this, I don't mind it. But I can't put it very high. I just don't think it's outstanding compared to everything else that's coming ahead. With the Beatles. So With the Beatles was one of the first albums I actually fully listened to by the Beatles. Also one of their first released, 1963 this was. My opinion has kind of changed on it, I don't know. I'm not sure how to explain it. At first I adored it, I listened to it in full and I loved it all. But kind of looking back at it, I don't know, I just think the songs that I don't love are kind of in the same category as the others, not terrible, not bad, not even okay. They're good songs, but nothing I would really listen to on my spare time. The ones that I do love, like It Won't Be Long, All My Loving, All My Loving is probably I'd have that, you know, one of my top 10 favorite Beatles songs for sure.
All my loving, I will.
Don't Bother Me, I think, is kind of underrated. Till There Was You, also very good. Please, Mr. Postman, Hold Me Tight, You Really Got a Hold on Me, I Want to Be Your Man. Devil in Her Heart, Money, That's What I Want. Those are my favorite ones on there. Again, there are a few that are not my kind of thing. Still very good, but not, you know, like I said, not my preferred taste. But yeah, for this, I'd give it an 11, you know. Before, like, you know, I ranked this previously. I did a Beatles album thing on my Instagram stories. I had this one at 8, you know, so that kind of shows how much my opinion has changed. Still love this one. I still think the cover, obviously, I love the cover for this one. You know, iconic. Everyone fucking knows it, you know. I really enjoy it. Please Please Me. Now, this is the first album released by the Beatles. Those albums, you know, were great. This is where the albums are starting to get really, really good in my eyes.
Well, she was just 17, you know.
Please Please Me, I really like this is one of those albums where I like every song, you know, there's not one I dislike, you know, everyone's good, each one is good in their own way. Some of my favorites being I Saw Her Standing There, Misery, Ask Me Why, Please Please Me, Love Me Do, Baby It's You, Do You Want to Know a Secret, There's a Place, and Twist and Shout. All of those, like, fantastic songs on here. Pretty outstanding, I think, for, you know, the Beatles starting. You know, I think it's amazing. I love it. It's so good. Okay, I'll fucking move on. Please Please Me, great album. Nothing I really hate about it. Nothing I outstandingly love, but, you know, still very good. Please Please Me. This may be a bit weird to rank, but I wanted to rank it. This is Past Masters, the Beatles. So, for those who aren't aware, this is just a collection album of all the singles that the Beatles have made. And I have this one above those because there are so many songs on here that I adore, but there are also a few that just aren't my favorite, you know? Like, there are so many on here that I absolutely love, like, She Loves You, one of my favorite songs by the Beatles, I Want to Hold Your Hand, you know, that's a classic, everyone knows that. Day Tripper, We Can Work It Out. Basically, the whole second record of this album is fucking amazing. I don't think there's a single bad song on the second side, except, You Know My Name, Look Up the Number. That one's, kind of, it's a fucking joke of a song, but everyone knows that, so it's not too bad. Yeah, Paperback Writer, Rain, Lady Madonna, Hey Jude, these songs, I have such an emotional connection with them, and I just love them so much. Let It Be, I'll talk about that song later, that's on this one too. Don't Let Me Down, the Ballad of John and Yoko, Get Back, Old Brown Shoe, Across, like literally every song on the B record, absolutely fantastic, I love it. But the first two sides, I'm gonna be brutally honest, I've never been a huge fan of those songs. I think they're just okay, most of them. Long Tall Sally's okay, I Feel Fine is good, Still a great album, but the first side kind of brings it down. Hard Day's Night. Now this one my opinion has seriously changed on this one, because I've re-listened to it again, and again, every song here, really good. Hard Day's Night, one of my favorites, early classics, got me into the Beatles. I should have known better if I fell. Like literally every song on here is great. Can't really say anything bad about it, other than the fact that, the early Beatles aren't my favorite phase, like I love the Beatles as a whole and their whole legacy and even their early stuff, but this phase from like 1963 to like early 1965, easily for me, least favorite phase for the Beatles. Still, I can't deny that this album is just straight up great, like I just said, fantastic songs, everything's great about this one. Magical Mystery Tour, again, this is one of the first albums that I've kind of got into, I guess. Every song on here is just fucking amazing, Magical Mystery Tour, Fool on the Hill. The only song that I think is okay, or not the best, is Flying. just because it's mainly just an instrumental and not that interesting of a song. Blue Jay Way's okay, Your Mother Should Know, and I'm the Walrus have recently been loving them recently. And the whole second side, Hello Goodbye, Strawberry Fields, Penny Lane, Baby You're a Rich Man, All You Need Is Love. Those are the first bunch of songs I kind of started listening to when I got into the Beatles, and I just fell in love with them immediately. So, the whole second side with the songs I just mentioned were a collection of singles from the time. 1967 this was.
The city policeman sitting pretty little policeman in a row.
But yeah, overall fucking great stuff. Not much I can bring it down for. I know I said for A Hard Day's Night there's almost nothing wrong with it, and this one I kind of had a bit of a complaint. There's a bit of, nostalgia with the second side and those first songs I got into the Beatles from. Amazing stuff. Next up is Rubber Soul. Now, Rubber Soul, it took me a while to get into this one. When I first heard it, like initially in the phase of my Beatle enlightenment, when I started getting into the Beatles, I didn't think too much of it. I thought it was pretty overrated. Listening to it again around January, I was like, holy shit, this is fucking amazing. Every song on here is good. There isn't one that's bad, And I just think that every other song is pretty fantastic. Like Drive My Car in Norwegian Wood, You Won't See Me, probably my favorite song by the Beatles at the moment. Nowhere Man, Think For Yourself, The Word, Michelle. Girl, I'm Looking Through You in My Life, Wait, If I Needed Someone, Run For Your Life. They're all fucking great songs. And I think that this was late 1965. This is clearly when the Beatles started to become the best. I've seen it around, any album before this one is great, but it's not what set the Beatles on the path to be considered the best, you know what I mean? They were kind of just like a fun pop rock band, whatever, but this is what put them on the road to the greatest of all time, and I completely see that. I completely agree. Clearly a different change of mood from the original ones, slower songs, moodier songs, not just about love, you know what I mean?
I wouldn't mind.
So yeah, I just love it.
Are we supposed to giggle in the solo?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let It Be. Now, Let It Be. Let It Be. This one is also pretty special to me. Every song on here is, in my opinion, apart from maybe 3 of them, every song is a masterpiece. Except, okay, I'm gonna name off the ones that I don't think are perfect. Dig It, Maggie May, those ones obviously aren't fucking good if you've heard them. Or aren't great if you've heard them. One After 909, that one's alright. For You Blue is great, but not a masterpiece. Everything else, Two of Us, Dig a Pony, Across the Universe, I Mean Mine, Let It Be, I've Got a Feeling, Along the Windy Road, and Get Back, I think those are all essentially flawless songs, Maybe not flawless, but they're all fucking great, Let It Be is my favorite song of all time. And I'm really glad that the album was named Let It Be. I know it was originally supposed to be called Get Back, and there was kind of a concept version released in 2003 of how Paul would have wanted the album. I still love it. I still think there's so much to love on here. I think it's really underrated, Songs like Two of Us, Dig a Pony, Across the Universe, like every song that I stated that I loved, nostalgic, I love it. And also the album cover. This is probably one of my favorite album covers for almost any album. That sounds fucking crazy, but it's just so simple. It's just the 4 of them.
Let it be, let it be.
4 different pictures of the 4 of them, Seeing them, not together, it shows a divide. Like there's a literal divide. I just think there's a little bit of beauty in the fact that it's just so simple. Next one is Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. Now, maybe a shock to a few, this is not first, but I still love this album. I think, again, a few of these songs are absolutely nostalgic for me. Every single song here is great. There's not one I dislike. I love the cover. The cover is full of color, for them in a different light, you know. Obviously, it was what kind of shifted the music for everything, for the Beatles and for music as a whole, you know. I also really like how, you know, it was one of the first albums by the Beatles that had, you know, the continuous songs going on, you know, kind of connecting each other. I think it's great stuff. I have nothing more to say. It's amazing. I love it.
She's not a girl who misses much.
Next up is the White Album. Now, the White Album, this is what, 1968? Now, this was obviously when the Beatles started to have more of a divide. It's difficult to describe how I feel about this album because everyone knows how this album is. It's all over the place. I feel like it's a little underrated because I love every song here. You know, like Dear Prudence, Obla-Di, Obla-Da. While my guitar gently weeps, Happiness is a warm gun, Martha, my dear blackbird, I'm so tired, you know, like Rocky Raccoon. Fuck, man, there's so much I want to say, but I can only say so much, and this can only go so long without it being fucking boring. I appreciate each of these guys so much for the contributions they've made, and each song on all of these albums, there's something to them, and they're all great in their own way. I love the fucking White Album for a good phase of my time, for a good part of my time. This was my absolute favorite. I could not stop listening to this. You know, like, Happiness is a Warm Gun, probably one of the most innovative songs of the fucking time.
I need a fix 'cause I'm gone down.
What else you got? Sexy Sadie, Helter Skelter, you know, one of the first metal songs, you know, long, like, all of these are fucking so good. Number 3 is the White Album.
I need my love to be here.
Revolver. Now, again, this is one of those albums similar to Rubber Soul. I didn't appreciate this album so much at first. I listened to a few of the songs and I kind of thought they were alright, you know. And I listened to it again and I was blown away. Now, when I say every single song on this album is perfect, I mean that. Every single song here, there's not a bad song, there's not a filler song, there's nothing, in my opinion, there is nothing inherently wrong with this album. I love the cover. The cover is so detailed, there's so much shit in it, I love it, you know, seeing them all drawn so nicely, introduce so many new sounds to the Beatles, and I think this album is more impactful than Rubber Soul was.
Everything was right.
I'm so fucking thankful it exists. You know, all of them, John, Paul, like, they're all fucking geniuses, did such a good job making this. I love it so much. Comes in at number 2.
Once there was a way.
Number 1 favorite album of all time is Abbey Road. I'm really trying to figure out how to find new words to describe this one. You know, for my birthday last year, it's August 30th. Last year, I don't know if you can see that, that's a record player. That's a record player. I got it from my best friends, and this was the album that they got me with it. This was the first album I ever played on a vinyl.
I'd like to be under the sea.
It just means so much to me. I discovered it at such a happy time in my life. There's so little wrong with this album. Something, second favorite song ever by the Beatles. It's damn near perfect, that song. It means so much to me. Every single song here is great. Octopus's Garden, Come Together, I Want You, She's So Heavy, Here Comes the Sun. The medley, which was probably one of the best pieces of music I've ever listened to. The medley, I remember hearing it for the first time properly ever and I was blown away. Golden Slumbers, Carry That Weight in the End, together as one song. Also, probably one of the best Beatles songs. I just have so much of an emotional connection with this.
Sleep, pretty darling, do not cry.
I can't not put it at number 1. It reminded me of such a good point in my life and so many good people. That's hard to not have it here, you know? This was before COVID was like worse for the second time. We were here in Ontario, Canada. It was just so special. And never had anything like this. The cover, easily one of the most iconic ever. Second favorite cover by the Beatles, next to Let It Be. I love it. I don't have any more words for it. I'm speechless. If there's any album I recommend to listen to the Beatles, it's this one, without a doubt.
We would shout and swim about